Welcome, one and everyone, to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 262. I am your neighborhood friendly Oxhorn here, as always, with my suspender set to maximum stun. Interesting. The light is playing off of my beard in interesting ways. Where's that a gray hair? I don't even know. Anyway, it's a pleasure to see you all here today. Glad to have you. Today's going to be a great day. For many reasons. The first of which is, of course, that I fixed the audio issues. At least, I hope I fixed the audio issues. I have been going through some of my previous episodes and thinking, my goodness, the sound quality sounds really poor for the amount of money I sunk into this beautiful blue microphone. Not that it's blue, but the brand name is blue. It's a Snowball. Garnt says, so vain. I know, but when you see something iridescent in your beard, you just think, oh my. What could that be? Is it a pearl? I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's, well look, hey, when you have it, you know, you take care of it. That's the reality. If I had a nice, expensive car from 1930s, I would wax it every day, as I'm sure you did to your beautiful bald head when it was still bald. No longer. It is now filled with all of those luscious locks, Garnt, of which I am very pleased to hear. But anyway, moving on with the show and not getting caught up on one topic. We have a great show today. We've got Scotch to get through, packages to get through, fan art to get through, fan recordings to get through. And none of you can see me. Does it actually work? Can you actually see me? Garnt says, congrats on the HuffPost article shout out. Thank you very much. I shared this earlier on my social streams. The Huffington Post actually linked to one of my blog posts on beard oil. That's right. I wrote an in-depth topic about nothing but beard oil. I created a source that is the ultimate source. You cannot go anywhere else to learn something about beard oil that you do not learn on the page that I created about beard oil. And the Huffington Post linked to it. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Anyway, I shared that, and I'm going to be creating a blog post about that in the future. But pretty pleased about that. My beard site is doing very well. It's up to 150,000 unique visitors a month. That's way more than I ever got on Oxhorn.com. So I'm pretty pleased with how the beard site is going. Anyway, lots to get through today. First up, Scotch. Check this out. What could this be? Shiva's Regal. This was a birthday present. Now, typically I don't purchase, chintzy things like this where it's got a nice tin with something obviously inspired by Mad Men on the cover. But now that I actually own it, because it was a gift on my birthday, I'm very pleased to have it. It says, made for gentlemen. Right. Limited edition by Patrick Grant, designer, and Savile Row Taylor. Savile Row. I guess by drinking this scotch, I'm going to be wearing, suddenly, everything that I wear will be the classiest and finest in existence. Let's check out the bottle. Ooh. Now, we have had Shiva's Regal. Sorry, I'm being distracted. Garnt says, all the other commenters on that article had some nice beards. Did you have any beard envy? My friend, every beard is a snowflake. Does one snowflake seethe in envy when he sees his neighbor snowflake? No, they are equally snowflakes, equally unique, equally epic and awesome in their own way. Mine may not be bright red, it may not reach my toes, but it has its own characteristics that other men lack. So, I do not suffer from beard envy, nay, only those with shorn chins suffer from beard envy. He says, square box, round bottle? That seems weird to me. But so the saying goes, you can't fit a square peg in a round hole, but you can fit a round bottle in a square tin. Just proving physics wrong, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a hot day here in Seattle. The ice has melted a little bit. Let's finish this off. Ah, 12 years old, blended Scotch whiskey. Let's see what the light looks like through it. Look at that. My face is gleaming in the auburn color. All right, time for a sip. Time for a sip. Delicious as always. Chivas Regal has a sweetness to it. If you like sweet liquor, you're gonna like this. Gordon was saying, I don't know how we did the video reviews sober. I was watching an old one the other day. You fail to remember that we didn't do them sober, right? I mean, Gort is my old coworker from way back in the day, and we used to do a show called the Weekly Video Review for a company called WeGame.com, and if you recall, my friend, we had an entire kitchen filled with liquor. In fact, I still have a bottle of Tanqueray vodka that no one else in the company wanted, and they gave it to me when we moved out of our office and the company went virtual. And I still have it to this day because it's horrible. It's horrible. It's the worst vodka I've ever tasted. I can't bring myself to taste it, but I can't bring myself to throw it away because it cleans my pipes really well. So it's good at cleaning my pipes. Gornt asks, do you have any backups of our weekly video reviews? Only 1 through 7 are on YouTube. I have backups of every single video review we ever did. I am a notorious pack rat. Remember that old Mac that I had that I did all the video editing on? Before I gave that back to the company, I transferred every last scrap of file that I ever created. And, yeah. So I've got it all. I just need to sift through it and post it online. I have the search for Orangey. I noticed that is no longer online. Our epic movie. You co-wrote and starred in it, my friend, and it's gone. But I do have a backup somewhere, so one of these days I'll have to sit down and sift through the archived footage and publish it all online. Gentleman Badger says, Oxhorn, the big 5-year show was amazing, but it was only missing one thing, your amazing flute skills. Will you grace us with some tunes tonight? Yes, I forgot. I was supposed to use my flute last week, and then I got lost in playing Hearthstone. So yeah, I can play you a tune. There. Remind me again later in the show and I'll play something else. Gornt says, dude, the search for Orangey, please upload. Yeah, I've got to find it. It's on, see that stack of hard drives over there? I've got like 16 of them with 200 and something million trillion terabytes of files from my entire 10-year career making movies. So it's all there, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to sift through it and upload it. But yeah, one of these days I'll upload the search for Orangey. Thankfully, many of you were there and remember it, so that was a lot of fun. Okay, cigars. Well, I have a special gift, ladies and gentlemen. This came through the mail today, and it says "Do Not Bend." Anytime you have something that says "Do Not Bend" on it, that's usually a good sign, because maybe it's a check. Could be money. If you get money through the mail, you're going to be a happy camper. Though I don't think that this is money. Instead, excuse me. Instead, I think it's probably a gift. This is from, and I'm blocking his address to protect the innocent. This is from Andy the DK. Is Andy the DK in the chat today? There he is, Andy the DK, who asks, how long have you been playing the penny whistle? Since 2005. I think I first started learning the penny whistle back when I first started making my movies. Anyway, Andy the DK sent this through the mail. Thank you for that, good sir. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a booby trap. It could be some licorice. Or it could be something much better. Are there any elf ears? Says Ghoul Breath. It could be elf ears. Oh. Oh, we've got stacks of stuff here. Alright. Let's see here. Note. Dear Oxhorn, I hope you enjoy the cigars. Thanks for all the great years of machinima, your friend, Andrew, Andy the DK. There. That's right, white reflects light. Anyway, thank you for that note very much, and let's check this out. Oh man, he put in a humidifier in there. That means I know they're gonna be nice and fresh. I'm gonna smoke one of these bad boys tonight. I'm just gonna crack it open and smoke it live on television. Look at that. What have we got here? We've got 2 cigars. Mi amor, my love, my love. La aroma de Cuba. The scent of Cuba, my love. And then we have a Churchill-sized one, and then we have a Robusto that appears to be box-pressed. I think I'll try the box-pressed version tonight, just because I'm in the mood for a box-pressed cigar. Enjoy, my friend, says Andy the DK. Oh, I will. And you will watch me enjoy. In fact, I hope you enjoy watching me enjoy your cigar. Let's check this out. Perfect, perfect. So I actually was corrected on my website, Scotch and Smoke Rings, recently. I think it was episode 155 where somebody left a comment and said, you know, Oxhorn, you got that wrong. What you cut off is not the wrapper. And I realized at the time that, yes, I did misspeak. I didn't mean that the cap was the wrapper or that this is the wrapper. This leaf is indeed called the wrapper. It's the leaf that's used to wrap the cigar. This is called the ribbon or the ring or something like that. And he gave me some history that I actually did not know. And he said that the paper ring on a cigar was first introduced for ladies to be able to smoke cigars without staining their gloves the color of nicotine. Now, I'm going to take my ring off, my paper ring off, because, for those who don't know, it is considered rude to smoke your cigar with the paper ring showing, because you don't want everybody in the world to see the brand of cigar that you're smoking. I guess what would happen is you would go into your local gentleman's club before they became non-gentleman's clubs, but when they were actually gentlemanly, you would go into your gentleman's club and you would smoke with your fellow members of the club, and some people would pull out a $30 cigar with the big old Patel logo on it or something, and really just gloat about how wealthy they are because they're smoking a Rocky Patel cigar or whatever. And that's, of course, considered unseeming. We don't want to boast about our wealth to our friends. We're here to smoke cigars and enjoy each other's company without making each other feel inferior due to our unique financial needs. Now, of course, that's not the goal of what I do here. I share with you the type of cigar that I smoke because you're interested in it, and I'm happy to share. But anyway, so I take the band off as is considered classy, and we're smoking a scent of Cuba today. Now I gotta turn these fans off, just because it's gonna get a little windy. By the way, do you like the filter? It's not really a filter, but I changed something with the video, and now it kind of looks a little darker. It's got a sepia look to it. I turned off some of the white in the color. I just thought it looked better. Let me know what you guys think. This way it'll look like I'm really broadcasting from the 1930s, see? Indeed, indubitably. Let me turn these fans back on. Ooh, it's getting hot. Whew. Ah, Andy the DK. Artie Cookie says, take this off Heroes of the Storm, please. I thought I did. In fact, I thought I made that change just before I started broadcasting today. Today I'll be playing Hearthstone, not Heroes of the Storm. So my apologies if I confused anybody. I'll check again after the show. William Moore says, the video looks nice, Oxhorn. It's very clean. Thank you. I made another change, ladies and gentlemen. I dumped somebody important to me. Or who used to be important to me. Comcast. That's right, Comcast Internet, whom I have been in a relationship with for over 10 years. I dumped later this week because I was sick and tired of their ungentlemanliness. I had a few other words to use. Oh, Jones says, what about the Facebook fan art? I'm going to get to that, Jones. Don't you worry, my friend. I'm going to go through every scrap of fan art that you guys produced because it's important. But I dumped Comcast this week because I couldn't take it anymore. This is basically what happened. I purchased my cable modem brand new off of Amazon. All right? I've been using that cable modem for over 8 months in my home, and I've been broadcasting from this home. Last Monday, they turned off my internet, and I called them up to inquire why, and they said, we're sorry, your modem is registered to somebody else. But I'm sorry, my friend, I've been using this modem for 8 months with your service. It's been on my account, and I bought it new from Amazon. I had to peel off the wrapper because it was a brand new modem. Anyway, I got transferred, and so the thing that really annoyed me is I'm talking to tech support. They say, sorry, I can't help you. Let me transfer you to billing. They transfer me to Spanish language billing, and then Spanish language billing has to transfer me to English language billing, who then proceeds to tell me that they can't help me, that this is something that only tech support can solve. So then they transfer me back to tech support, who then tells me that I need to take my unit into a customer service representative and have them take a look at it. I'm like, done. Nope, I'm done. So I canceled Comcast and I signed up for CenturyLink. I'm on DSL now. I'm not being paid by CenturyLink. I'm not a shill for CenturyLink, but judge it for yourselves. This is going to be my first streaming episode on DSL. They say it's going to be a little slower than Comcast, but so far it's seeming fairly good. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. The experience was a lot better, and it's about $50 cheaper a month. Who would have known, right? So there you go. Broke up with Comcast. No regrets. No regrets. No regrets. Fourleaf0923 says, Oxhorn, you are a gentleman and a scholar, mate. I'm off to sleep. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Good night, all. Good night, my friend. So glad you came. Hope you can come back next week. How was your birthday, Oxhorn? Asks Greg McLovin Hartung. My birthday was amazing. I'm going to load up your fan art while I answer those questions. My family threw me a party at my mom's house, and we had red velvet cake and meat lasagna. It was like a 5 meat lasagna. It was just delicious. And for my birthday, I got a big thing of scotch, a huge case of, I forget the brand. It was a really dark beer. I forget the brand. And an ancient coin, another ancient coin. Let's see if it's sitting. Here it is. I have a family member who collects these ancient coins. And he got me this one for my birthday, 1879. Probably not worth a whole lot, but it's an Indian head penny. An Indian head penny, says 1 cent, minted in 1879. It's a little faded, but in surprisingly good condition. I know you probably can't see. But it's cool. Now I have Celtic arrowheads, European ancient coins, and now this old penny. It's not really ancient, but it's an old penny. It's cool. I think it's nice. I like that stuff. Alright. Time to show off some fan art. Okay. So, this piece was submitted by Patricia, a.k.a. Shauna, and she says, here's the pics I promised. My amazing job on Earth now is that I make poutines. This is our menu, and all of them are bacon. Yes, this is my job. I make beautiful and tasty poutines, known to man. Patricia misses you guys and enjoy. And then we've got the pork poutine, the bacon, the hogtown, the pulled pork, the double pork, and the triple pork poutine. She is obviously thrilled with her position, and I can't blame her. I mean, just look at that. It's the bacon cheeseburger poutine. It looks delicious. Then there was this from Christina, and she sent this for my birthday, and it says, "Happy birthday, sir. Exquisite. Cheers." Cheers indeed, my friend. Birthdays are indeed exquisite. Then there was this. I don't know if I showed this last week or not, but this is by Christina, and she wished me a wonderful birthday. And we've got 2 cakes of beards. One made with pecans. A pecan beard cake and then a chocolate sprinkled beard cake. And both sunglasses. Dragon Exile asks a pertinent question. What is poutine? And I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but in Canada, they have a traditional dish, which is basically French fries covered in bacon, meat, cheese, and a variety of other tasty things. And they call that poutine, or poutine, or poween. I don't. How is it pronounced? Is it pronounced poutine? I forget. Anyway, it's delicious, and I live about an hour and a half away from the Canadian border, so someday I will have to drive up to Vancouver and get myself some Canadian poutine. Then there's this by Damon LaRue, and he says, I love the classy Deathwing poster posted earlier, so I looked around for more classy antagonists, and I found 2 samples. Let me add a new screen region. There we go. You dare intrude on my lair? Face your death then, unless of course you are here to give me more Earl Grey. Yeah, this is what the gentleman Deathwing would say. So thank you for that. And the next is this fellow. It's a gentleman Garrosh, Hellscream, and a nice monocle and mustache. Then we've got this. This was submitted last week, but I failed to show it. And Marcus says, I think there's something seriously wrong with my Hearthstone. And he saw this interesting graphical glitch when he was playing Hearthstone. This, of course, is what it's supposed to look like. Kind of. It's still messed up there. So don't know what was going on, my friend, but your Hearthstone is broken. There's this from Christina, and she says, I'm a sad panda that I missed the anniversary episode last week. I had other things to do, and I'll catch it on YouTube. But for now, beards carry with them a sense of reverence and wisdom, and also crumbs. This is true, but I consider that to be a perk rather than a bug. Then there's this. Do beards grow faster in the summer? Check out the article on my Scotch and Smoke Rings Facebook group. I wrote this just a few days ago after doing much research. Do beards grow faster in summer? The answer is yes, but the greater question is why. Why do beards grow faster in the summer? I did some research. I consulted the experts. I referenced my sources. I've got handy-dandy charts and graphs. It's a great little piece. And then I even give you some suggestions on what you need to put together to create your own beard growing cocktail for a longer, faster, stronger beard. Yes, the commercial is over. Check it out on growabeardnow.com in the blog section. A fascinating article, I think. Then there's this from Imagine Justin. All of us here wishing you many more years. Happy 5th anniversary, Oxhorn, and happy birthday. And there's my character, Oxhorn, in the middle of Orgrimmar, surrounded by his friends and allies. You know what? This was so sweet. Thank you very much, Imagine Justin. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. To another 5 years, indeed. Here's one from Greg Hartung. Let's see what he says here. Something in relation to my tribute I posted the other day. By the way, he posted an amazing video. I suggest you check it out. In case you didn't get it, this is a reference to Oxhorn saying how if $1 million were raised, he'll likely make movies again. Yeah, I suppose I should start a Kickstarter, right? $1 million to Oxhorn making new movies. Put your backs into it, says Mortus. $1 million gold isn't going to amass itself, you know. And then we've got a little progress meter over here. Return of Oxhorn gold donation progress. 6,561. of 1 million. Yeah, I'll take the 6,581 up front. You know, I'm not going to turn that down. And then here's a video by Nathaniel Fury. And it's basically me wearing Mass Effect armor set to some sentimental music. You know, I can't say that I'm displeased. It says classy renegade down here, if you can't read it. Thank you for that one, my friend. You can see that on the Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/groups/Oxhorn. I accept everybody. And here's a wonderful moment. Our very own Greg Hartung says, on August 1st, 2014, I, Greg McLovin Hartung, issued a challenge to myself. I've decided to grow a beard. That's right, with my upcoming fall term for college approaching, I thought it was time to see for myself what my facial hair is capable of if I were to let it be. Unless I'm required to shave or the beard lifestyle doesn't suit me. The pictures I've attached is of me right after I shaved. I shall likely post again in a month to show you my progress. Well, you are a clean-shaven gentleman in this photo, and in the next one I expect you to have a nice, happy scruff on that gentlemanly face. Thank you for sharing, Greg Hartung. We applaud you on your journey. Then there's this by Ghoulbreath. It's a video of the very first inventing swear words. He says, I hope you all enjoy this. This is what happened when I turned on YouTube captions during inventing swear words, so I recorded it for you all to see. And he's reading it back. I know you can't hear it, but LOL, yeah, I'm new. Quiet, the problem I'm referring to is on her language. You see, for some reason, we're no longer able to swear. So this thing is getting part of it right, but it's not getting my invented swear words correctly. Which is, it's bloating hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. So check it out. Check it out on the Scotch and Smoke Rings Facebook group. Again, it's open to everybody, no requirements, and I hope to see you all there. All right. That is it for the fan art. Thank you very much for your submissions, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to sift through your fan art. If you would like to submit fan art, you can always go to the Facebook page and just upload a photo of your choice, whatever piece of fan art that you've created. I'm going to put the music on pause because we have three, count them, three people on the line. First up is Dragon XL. Dragon XL, you're on the Scotch and Smoke Rings program. What can I do for you today, good sir? Please tell me what's on your mind.
Oxhorn, have you tried playing Terra Online, Firefall, Fall of Titans, or any other MMORPG other than WoW?
I think I played that last week. I don't recall. But to answer your question, I have played games other than World of Warcraft, but I haven't played any of the games that you listed off. However, I am interested in learning more about them. So hopefully someday I will be able to play them. Next up is Pavel. Pavel, you are on the line on the Scotch and Smoke Rings program. What's on your mind?
Hello, I'm Pavel and I'm from the Czech Republic. I just wanted to ask if you know of any viewers from Slovakia, Poland, or even our country. Also, I really like your show.
Sorry, my friend, please start over. I can hardly hear you.
Hello, I'm Pavel and I'm from the Czech Republic. I just wanted to ask if you know of any viewers from Slovakia, Poland, or even our country. Also, I really like your show. Please keep it up. Goodbye.
So for those who couldn't hear him, that was Pavel from the Czech Republic, and he asked if I knew of any machinima makers from his country or Poland, and I believe Slovakia, he said in there. And I don't. I mean, I know many machinima authors, but I don't know where they're all from. I know of some who are from Scandinavia, but I know that that's not not your country or your area of the globe. So I'm sorry, I don't know of anybody. But then at the end he says that he loves my show and he watches it every week. Thank you very much, Pavel, for watching the show. I hope that you can come back next week and every week and bring with you all your friends. We love having you. And then finally we have one more from Sherman. Sherman, you're on the Scotch and Smoke Rings program.
Yes, hello there. My name is Sherman C. Warminster. Long-time viewer, first-time caller. I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoy your programs. Thank you for the strong family values and manly class you encourage in them. The way you interact with your family shows a deep compassion for them and your shared beliefs. But let me get on to my question. I'm an urban dweller, a city person, and I would like to try my hand at duck hunting. Who would you suggest I contact for lessons to do just such a thing? And may I ask, just what is the gauge on a shotgun? Is it like premium or regular gasoline? Again, thank you for the years of entertainment. I was surprised to find out that you've been doing this stream for 5 years. I've only been aware of your programs for about the last year, though. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Robertson, and I look forward to the new season of Duck Dynasty this fall.
All right. Thank you very much for leaving your wonderful comment, Mr. Sherman. So, I am not the Robertson clan, obviously, although I do sport a majestic beard. If they ever invited me on the program, I would, of course, show up in a heartbeat. I'd love to be on Duck Dynasty. Their show has been going on for about 4 years now or so, which means mine has been going on longer than Duck Dynasty. It's pretty crazy, huh? Anyway, so I am also an urban dweller. To put it in your verbiage, I live in the city of Seattle, so I don't spend a lot of time in the country. And I do love my creature comforts. I don't like traffic. But I do love being connected to a sewer and not having to live on a septic system. So, hey, it's a give and take sort of thing. I can't answer all of your questions, but I can tell you what the gauge of a shotgun is. So the gauge simply refers to how wide the diameter of the barrel is. So if you've got a 12-gauge shotgun, then you have a very large barrel. An 8-gauge shotgun is going to have a smaller barrel. So that's the difference. I don't know what that means when it comes to duck hunting. Can you shoot bigger birds or birds that are farther away? I'm not sure, but that is what gauge on a shotgun means. And I'd like to make a comment on family values. So he mentioned family values, which is something I care about, and it's something that, of course, the Robertson family cares about. But, of course, I've never really used the phrase family values here on Scotch and Smoke Rings. It's not part of my lingo or my verbiage, because it begs the question, what exactly are family values, and what's the point of them? So let's say that family values only apply to those who have families. And by families, we are, of course, using the euphemism children. If you have kids, you are therefore automatically interested in quote-unquote family values. And why is that? Why are you suddenly interested in family values once you have kids? Well, the unspoken reality is that we're concerned with what we expose our children to. And we are basically saying that there are some things in life that are good and constructive to expose our children to. And there are other things in life that are not constructive that you can expose your children to. Therefore, we wrap all of the quote-unquote family values stuff into one category. Those are all of the constructive things. And things that are not constructive are not necessarily family values. I like to think of it slightly differently. I like to think of it as classy values and unclassy values. We all inherently understand class, but we don't always speak about class with the words that are appropriate. Because we don't know how to express class, but we all understand it empirically. When we're talking about non-family values, we're talking about vulgarity, we're talking about profanity, and we're talking about ultra-violence and stuff like that. We don't want to expose our kids to those things because we hope that our children develop a class factor that's higher than the ones that we own ourselves. We always aspire to produce children that can climb the levels of class throughout society. Now, of course, if you even acknowledge that there are class levels in society, if you live in America, people will get angry at you. They want to pretend that there is no class system or structure in America or in Western civilization, that is some old, archaic thing of the past, and that it's only suitable for if you're watching the show Downton Abbey or something like that. But the reality is that we do have a class structure in America. It's just completely unspoken, which is why we have a website called The People of Walmart. That entire website exists because we're all recognizing that the people of Walmart tend to live in a different class, in a different world that thinks that certain classy things are okay. Like wearing skin-tight zebra sweatpants that don't fit. Right? You and I would say that that's unclassy, but the person who shops at Walmart is going to bend over to pick something up and expose a portion of her body that she might not want to expose because she's wearing skin-tight zebra pattern sweatpants, which no classy person would ever wear. Animal prints just in general, you never wear animal prints. But anyway, that aside, the entire point is that there are some values that are classy and some values that are not classy. I maintain on this program what I like to refer to as classy values. We don't do the vulgarity, we don't do the profanity, we don't do the ultra-violence, not because we're some sort of high and mighty person who is espousing family values, but rather because we understand class just a little bit better than other people do. And we are going to have a firm stand on class, yes we are, for our own personal edification and in order to maintain the brand by which we expose ourselves to the world, holding ourselves, not necessarily others, to a higher standard of class. Gaunt says, salaciousness. Indeed, Gaunt. Indeed. Kevin Bacon is being held hostage, says Imagine Justin. He is not being held hostage, however, he is being held somewhere around this room. Where could Kevin Bacon be? I don't know. You'll just have to look around and see if you can find him.
The great music of the 1920s and 1930s deserves to have an appreciative modern audience. You can help it find that audience. Why not email your friends?
Andy the DK says, so Oxhorn, how's that cigar treating you, my friend? And Cigar Ox says, time for smoke rings. You are both correct. It is time for smoke rings, and the cigar is indeed treating me very well. This is a delightful. Look how well it's burning. It's a little ratty on this side, so I'm going to touch it up just a little bit. But it's a solid construction. And look at that nice thick smoke. One very easy puff fills your mouth completely with smoke. And you can make the most epic of smoke rings. Here we go, smoke ring time. Doggone it! Bobkiss and Poppycock! My mustache appears to be getting in the way. It is mussing up my smoke rings. And many thanks to Shawarma, who's doing a fantastic job of moderating the Twitch chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I just noticed that you doused a few fires for me. Man, I'm having a hard time with my smoke rings today. Let's try this again. There we go, that's a little bit better. Of course, I'm constantly put to shame. If you go to YouTube, just Google smoke rings or something, you're going to find these teenage kids just blowing amazing smoke rings out of their hookahs. I think my limit is 13 or 14 and one puff of smoke. Time to turn the fans back on. Whew, it's getting hot in this room. Garnt says, what rings? Such ringfulness. Indeed they are. They are just ringingly ringful in every ringing way. Holy Cow Kill 3 says, Oxhorn, what are your thoughts on the two hurricanes hitting Hawaii? I remember reading that this has never happened before. One hurricane on top of another hurricane. I think Hawaii usually doesn't get hit by hurricanes to begin with, but getting hit by two hurricanes within a short period of time, it's unprecedented. So my best wishes and prayers go out to everybody who's on Hawaii right now. Batten down the hatches, save up some of that water, keep your family safe, don't go to the beach. I mean, just common sense stuff. I really hope that they're all going to be doing very well. Strengthens the bones. Dragon Exile says, there's one family value you are forgetting, my good sir. For those of us who have children, we also raise and aspire our children to live and have a better and more successful life, with hopes that our children will succeed better than their parents. Indeed, that's also very true. That's an often unspoken thing. You know, here's something my dad told me years ago, and I never understood it until I finally had children. I remember I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I was wrestling with my dad, and I remember saying, "Dad, you're just so strong. I will never beat you." And then he says, "You'll beat me someday, son." And that shook me at the moment, because I was like, holy cow, you know, I had my dad on this pedestal. I was 9 years old. Dad was like, you know, almost divine in my eyes. And I'm like, how could I ever be stronger than my dad? And then he says, "In fact, I hope that you're stronger than me someday." And I'm sitting there going, why would you hope such a thing? But I understand now, you know, now that I have children, I hope my kids are more successful than me. I hope that they live in better areas than I do. I hope they make more money. I hope they marry at a younger age and have children at a younger age and establish careers at a younger age so that they can travel more than I do and enjoy more of the world than I have been able to. And I guess that's just instinct, you know, that's just what we evolved to wish for our children. It's just part of our normal human being, and it's normal and natural. But you know, this also ties back into class, because if you have class, you can ascend through different and better ladders of society. If you lack on class, if you don't know how to talk between different cultures and different societies, you're going to have a hard time getting jobs, right? I mean, how many employers out there just simply will not hire people with tattoos on their face, or giant gauges in their ears, or spikes sticking out of their eyelids and stuff like that? I mean, it may not be fair to discriminate against people who have tattoos on their face, but the reality is that that bias exists within people. We hold people to a certain class standard, and if they don't fit our class standard, we don't hire them. So the simple reality is, our children who live lives in a classier way will do better in society. So they kind of come back together. William Moore says, actually, Oxhorn, the gauge of a shotgun refers to how many lead balls of a certain size can fit into the barrel of a shotgun. Also, the smaller the gauge, the bigger the shell, and therefore more shot may be delivered to said target. Well, I did tell you that I was an urban city dweller and didn't know anything about duck hunting, so I'm excused a little bit. I thought I was close. I know that when it comes to a cigar, the larger the gauge of the cigar, the thicker the cigar. But obviously, shotguns are not cigars, so what do I know? Imagine Justin makes a very good point. He says, there are some places that don't hire people with beards. I find it to be rude, but nevertheless. And that is a great point. Gort correctly says that is a good point. But here's the way I think about it. If I am lucky enough to live in a city that doesn't discriminate against people who wear beards. I live in Seattle. I'm surrounded by hipsters, and all of these hipsters have slicked over hair to the side. They wear skin-tight pants and short-sleeved shirts that show off their biceps. And they've got short, cropped beards. Okay, so I live in a society where beards are acceptable. But if I lived somewhere where beards were not acceptable, and I wanted to continue to live there, and I wanted to continue to contribute in that society, I would shave my beard. Because that's the only way I'd be able to provide for my children. Providing for my family is more important than having a beard. Getting an education is more important than having a beard. Succeeding in my career is more important than having a beard. I could rightly draw a line and say, you know what, my beard is my own territory, your shears shall not harm my chin, and defiantly walk off into the sunset, beard intact. And yet I wouldn't have my job, and my family would be eating a lot of rice and beans, and I might get evicted from my apartment. You gotta have a trade-off. Beard or lifestyle? Beard or food? Yeah, it's a tough line. So if my beard was really that important to me, and I still wanted to provide for my family, I'd live somewhere else. Which is probably why I don't live in Utah. As much as I admire the people who live in Utah, I probably would not be able to get a desk job with a beard in Utah. C'est la vie. Autumn says, better late than never. I'm here. Pleasure to have you here, Autumn. Always good to see you. Dragon XL says, there's a sad truth to raising children. Once children reach a certain age and go out there on their own, parents can't stop them from finding our children's own destiny. As we all do, all we can do is support our children in productive ways and hope that the children have learned from what we have taught them. And that's true. The goal is not to control your children once they reach adulthood, right? That's never the goal. You don't want to brainwash them. You don't want to control them. You don't want to interfere with their own life choices. Once they reach a certain age of maturity and they enter the workforce and they go out into the world and they start making their own decisions, your parental rights are done. I mean, you cannot force them to be a certain way, which is why the school you put your kids into and the company you allow them to have is so important at a very young age. Because their characters are formed under your leadership as a parent. And I realize most of you are not parents yet. A few of you are. Forgive me for speaking to the minority right now. But it's definitely something to bear in mind because, 90% of you will eventually get married and start producing children. So these are good things to think about. When you're a parent, it's your obligation to nurture your child in a way that you think is going to give them the best shot to achieve greatness later in life. And for those who think that giving them enough education to work at Burger King is enough, that's your choice. And not that anyone here is making that choice, of course. I'm just saying that there are some families who don't invest that much time into their children's upbringing so that they can go forth and find success later. But for those of us who have greater aspirations for our children, teaching them from a very young age, not only the differences between right and wrong, because people aren't born with that. Common sense isn't common. Common sense is taught. Teaching them that at a young age, giving them critical thinking skills, teaching them science, teaching them math, and more important than all of that, teaching them finances. Because you don't learn finances in school. I did not graduate from either my high school nor college with a full understanding of how a 401k works, or how to invest in the stock market, or the difference between a mutual fund and just one bond. I didn't know that. I had to learn all of that on my own, as most adults do later in life. But if you can walk away from your youth with all of that knowledge intact, you're better prepared to achieve greatness throughout the rest of your life. So anyway, these are some things that I've just been thinking about as I'm raising my own children. Any news on Tom, good sir? Asks the gentleman badger. No, nothing terribly. I mean, Tom is, I think in his nougaty center, in his deep down soul of souls, I think he's a good person who means well. He expresses this goodness and this well-meaning in a very disrespectful way, in that he doesn't respect your own personal choices. So, for example, in my parking lot where I park my car, it can only accommodate so many cars before it's blocked off. Now, in my lease agreement, I have the freedom to park in my parking lot, but as I park there, I have to block other cars. And his response is to knock on my door and inform me that I'm blocking cars when I know that I am blocking cars because it's my driveway. Instead, to flip the coin on that, another person who lives in the same complex that we do simply came to me and said, "Hey, I'm ready to leave the house. Would you mind moving your car so I can leave?" And my response was, of course, yes. I will gladly move my car so that you can leave. Instead of giving me a lecture about how I shouldn't be blocking cars, when the reality of the situation is that there's no way to avoid it. Anyway, a small example. Tom is a nice enough guy. He just gets into other people's business that isn't his own a bit too often than I would appreciate. Andy the DK says, "Hey Ox, I'm starting to delve into the world of Scotch, but I find that I don't get any flavor. All's I'm tasting is the strong alcohol, so do you ever add a teaspoon of water to stronger blends?" Yes, that's perfectly acceptable. That's why many people will put a cube or two of ice. Because what that does is it thins out the alcohol content of a glass of Scotch. let's say that you have a 40% alcohol by volume Scotch, you put a few cubes of ice in it, that decreases the percentage a little bit, but it doesn't decrease the flavor. You still get the flavor, just a little bit less alcohol with each sip. So putting water in your Scotch does allow you to taste the flavor of the Scotch a little bit more. It's also good if you don't immediately start drinking it. It's good to kind of get that shock of your senses out of the way by first pouring yourself a glass and then sniffing it and then tasting it. Your system has already recovered from the shock of the alcohol, and you can now enjoy the flavor. Okay, I guess show of hands. Who wants Hearthstone? And who would rather I simply continue waxing philosophical on a class in child rearing? Which I know is everybody's cup of tea here at scotchandsmokerings.com. Dragon XL says if your vehicle is blocking the way out of the lot, then that would be the fault of the city for poor planning. Yeah, I mean, it's actually the fault of the homeowners for poor planning on the driveways. This house, the one I'm in now, and then the one across the street share the same driveway. So, but there aren't enough spots for everybody. These houses were never designed to hold multiple families. They were supposed to be one-family houses. So, anyway. Uh-oh. Alright, I just turned on Hearthstone, and it's downloading something. It's downloading an update, so I can't actually play it right now. How's the stream? Is it starting to get a little glitchy or laggy? Whoops, gotta restart BattleNet. Alright. Dragon Exile asks a very loaded question. I'm rather curious, Oxhorn, what is your opinion on the events occurring between Israel and Hamas stationed in Gaza right now? Is this where we want the conversation to go? Do we really want to delve into politics? I'm happy not to, by the way. Right? I'm happy not to touch politics. Just saying. Is it getting choppy? All right. Let me turn off Hearthstone for right now, and I'll fix the patch, and next week we can do Hearthstone. Okay? So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but I had to download something, and I don't want to interrupt the stream. Well, I'm not going to dig too deep into taking sides on the whole Hamas and Israel thing. I will simply say this. Take a look at the truces and ceasefires. Throughout the entire history of the Israeli and Hamas conflict, Egypt has come to the table a number of times, a Muslim country, has come to the table a number of times offering ceasefire agreements and truces. And so has the United States, so has a number of countries. Every single time, Israel has accepted them. Every single time, Hamas has denied them. Or when they have accepted a ceasefire, they've violated it and continued to shoot rockets into Israel. And I think that's an important fact. That really says something about the mentality of the philosophies behind the two camps. One is a philosophy that actively seeks peace and is willing to make sacrifices so that peace can happen. Another wants war and death at every turn. There is no agreement that can satiate that desire. They want war, they don't want it to end, they want to kill, they don't want to agree to a ceasefire, they don't want to agree to the ending of hostilities. And I think that in and of itself says almost everything you really need to know about that conflict. There is no room for an ideology that says your nation cannot exist on the face of this planet. It can't. Gaunt asks a very pertinent question. First, does that justify the punishment of Gaza's civilians? And second, he's typing right now, so I'd like to see what he types before I answer, which is great for a Scotch break. Scotch break, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers and bottoms up. Andy the DK says, Ox, have you heard about WoW's 10-year anniversary? What are your thoughts? I'm excited about World of Warcraft's 10-year anniversary. I hope they do something truly amazing and epic. It's going to be a fantastic celebration. Major kudos to them for having a game that has been going on for 10 years. That's really unheard of in the video game industry. And then the second article that Gornt is proposing is that Israel is okay with peace because they're the oppressors. All tyrants want peace because they've already got everything. And I'd like you to think about that a little bit, because we can take a look at some oppressors in the past who have been oppressing. I don't believe that Hitler had everything, which is why he invaded Poland. He invaded Poland because he wanted Poland. He said, that's Poland, I want it, I'm taking it. They were an aggressor, and there was no amount of a peace treaty that could have been given to them for them not to want and take Poland. Russia wanted Crimea, so they took it. They didn't ask for it. There were no peace negotiations. They just took Crimea. They took it. And now they're working on the rest of the Ukraine. So I don't think that particular argument holds much water. However, going back to your argument about does this justify the punishment of Gaza's civilians, unequivocally no. Gaza's civilians do not deserve any of this, which is why what Hamas is doing to them is so atrocious. Instead of having clear aggressors and clear civilians, they're shooting rockets from within schools. They're shooting rockets from within private homes. That forces Israel to make one choice. Do we not take out those aggressors because we're worried about civilians and therefore give them the victory and just say, okay, we will be attacked forever, and that's okay with us? Or do they take out the aggressors and minimize as much civilian casualties as possible? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that giving civilians warning before they attack buildings is almost unprecedented in the history of armed conflict. Sending out flyers and saying, this is where we're going to attack, please civilians move. And then double tapping buildings so that you're giving them a warning knock before you destroy it, that's pretty much unprecedented. It's something Hamas does not do, but it is something that Israel does because they're concerned with civilian deaths. And another thing is that it's much easier to carpet bomb an entire area. If this conflict was really genocide, if it was really Israel going to invoke genocide on an entire population, they could be done in a day by carpet bombing all of Gaza. But they don't. Instead, they're putting Israeli lives on the line by having feet on the ground in Gaza to minimize as many civilian casualties as possible. And the only reason they're doing that is because they're concerned with the civilian deaths, and they want to minimize that as much as possible. Again, a complete different philosophy and worldview. Holy Cow Kill 3 says, Oxhorn, is it possible for Blizzard to make World of Warcraft free to play? It's possible. Will they ever? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Would it be better for the game if they made it free to play and they made their money on microtransactions? I don't know. That's a great question. They're currently able to maintain their revenue by charging people, what is it, $15 a month now? Something like that. And as long as people are willing to pay that, they'll probably keep on charging that. Would it be a better game if they stopped charging that and allowed you to play it for free? I think we see from many of the Facebook games that that's not necessarily true. Facebook games aren't really known for their quality. They're more known by their addictive nature and their kind of in-your-face, click this ad or download this update or get this patch, which is not necessarily the best kind of gameplay. So my personal philosophy is that they should probably keep with the kind of game that they have now and not move to the whole free-to-play microtransaction thing, because I think it would take the game in an ugly direction. Holy Cow Kill 3 says they could do what Team Fortress 2 did and make hats or something. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I mean, they're making a lot of money on special mounts and all of these stuff. Like, there was a special that was going on the other day. Log in now and you can get a free mount in your inbox, which of course was their way of saying, everybody log in to reactivate your accounts and continue paying us the monthly fee so that you can get that free mount in your inbox. So their strategy is working. You know, they're going to do what they need to do to make the most money, and I think they're making those decisions now. It could work, says Holy Cow Kill. Quite possibly. It quite possibly could work. Oh! Here's a great one from Shawarma. It'll ruffle a few feathers. Shawarma says, I believe that Benjamin Franklin's statement was along the lines of, a young man who is not liberal has no heart. An old man who is not conservative has no brain. I'm simply quoting another man. That's all I'm doing. Simply quoting another man. All for 17 says, I wouldn't mind if Blizzard just got their revenue from selling cosmetics. And that's definitely an opportunity. My only concern is the quality of gameplay from there on out. If their sole bread and butter is upselling people on mounts and special spells and special abilities, that's a short step away from buy these things so that you can optimize your wardrobe and buy these things so that you can compete in PvP, which is what they're doing with Hearthstone. With Hearthstone, it's hard to compete in the game itself unless you purchase their packs. Right? I much prefer being able to still compete without purchasing all of their mounts and spells and all of that by simply paying my monthly fee. But, you know, to each their own. We'll definitely see what World of Warcraft does. Dora says, wow, cosmetics? What, are we going to make makeup for corehounds now? That would definitely be something to avoid. Gort is very passionate about this topic. He says the media doesn't talk about it, and he's talking about being pushed off their land or something like that. He says the media doesn't talk about it because it's not as interesting as someone getting beheaded. This is the first time I think I've heard someone accusing the media of not being liberal enough. The media is pretty liberal, and I think they're good on siding with Hamas. You know, they've done their bit. So has the New York Times. They've done their bit, and I don't think there's a lack of reporting on the solidarity with Palestinians, for that matter. Oh, a link to the Independent. Okay. You see, Dragon Exile, this is what happens when you bring up politics in my stream. Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, I made the decision to engage. Yes, that's true. This is true. It could be a lot uglier. I could definitely say that. It could be a lot uglier. But this is what happens. What do they say in gentlemanly conversation? Never talk about politics, religion, or money. Those are the three topics you never talk about. No politics, no religion, no money. And the DK says, on a lighter note, they've already announced what they're doing for the 10-year anniversary. Check it out, it's epic. Yeah, I got that email from Blizzard in my inbox. I'm gonna have to check it out just to see if it's worth logging in again to see. This is a good cigar, and you can tell the quality because it's not burning too fast. You see, I started at about here, a good-sized Robusto, and we're an hour into the program now, and it's only halfway done. Alright, I promised that I would play the penny whistle a little bit, and I shall do so before we end the program today. So, get your smoke ship ideas ready, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, Bulldog says, Oxhorn wrote a book? Indeed! How could I forget that particular part? I wrote 2. Era 1, my collection of short stories, poems, and small novels. And then, of course, my full-fledged novel, The Tale of Cloran Hastings, a swashbuckling sea adventure for people of all ages. Check them out at cloranhastings.com and era1book.com. Handsome additions to any scholar's library. Okay, penny whistle time. Let's see if I can do the Great Kodo. I haven't done that in a while. All First 17 says, please play the Fistful of Dollars theme on your penny whistle. I'm sad to say that I don't think I know that theme. You'll have to send a video to, like a YouTube video of the song to me on the Scotch and Smoke Rings group so that I can learn it. What else do I know? Oh my goodness, I'm just all sorts of butterfingers today. Solas Evolution says, only just tuned into this stream, and my God, sir, you are a legend within your own right. I shall be passing your stream on to my friends. Thank you very much, my friend. Kudos to you, and a tip of the cap in your general direction. Let's see if I can do that one again. Just all sorts of crazy today. Let's see, what else do I know? No, I'm not going to do that one. Was that Foggy Dew or Branson Bay? I think that was Galway Bay and something thing. 4th of July. Is that myself? See if he was truly there. I forget. On Bantry Bay or something. Yeah. What else is there? Oh, you guys have recognized this one if I can remember. Any guesses on that? I've played it on the show before, so it's probably no surprise to many of you, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure that one if anyone's an aficionado of classic PlayStation games. Final Fantasy, says HT Star. Yes, but which Final Fantasy, my friend? There are 15 or so of them last time I checked. Andy the DK says, before the smoke ship spam starts rolling in, Oxhorn, I'm glad you enjoyed the cigar, my friend. Have a great evening. I'll see you next week. You are the hero of the show today, Andy the DK, for sending me some classy cigars. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it helps the program. Fund this program, ladies and gentlemen, by sending your own cigars to this handsome face. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time to end the program. What is on your mind today? Send me your smoke ship ideas, and I will do my very best to weave them into something beautiful and magical for you. Final Fantasy VII? No, not Final Fantasy VII, William Moore, but a good guess. A few more up. Terra Wrath says the theme to Final Fantasy IX. Correct, it is Final Fantasy IX. Imagine Justin says Oxhorn, Mortus and Staghorn in Seattle, sitting on top of the Space Needle watching all of the hippies. A simple smoke ship. Indeed, my friends, indeed. And Gentleman Badger says Oxhorn, Staghorn, Mort, Mr. Evil Hat, and the classy fans all at a birthday celebration in Mulgore for our very own host, Oxhorn, including a giant cake in the shape of a cigar. Genius. William Moore says Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortus all riding smoke steeds across the barren plains of Mordor, dodging lakes of fire and molten lava, while slaying orc warriors and cave trolls with flaming bacon swords while they swiftly race through the fiery smoke and ash to the volcano known as Mount Doom, so they can use the heat and fire of the mountain to roast hot dogs, marshmallows, and of course to cook bacon. Dragon Exile sums it all up with a very simple one. Pulled pork, a glass of cheap scotch, and a lobster boiled in coffee. Actually sounds pretty good. That's probably preferable to the lobsters that I've had in the past. Black Shawarma contributes by saying, a barbecue cheddar Guida bacon cheeseburger with curly fries and a cherry Pepsi. And of course he's making me hungry. You know, I don't eat dinner before doing this show, so that I'm not constantly burping while doing the program. So I'm ravenous at this moment. And here you are, making me hungry with your barbecue cheddar Guida bacon cheeseburgers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, nicely done. Great smoke ships as usual. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead with William Moore today, my friend. What is on your... Let's see. All right, William Moore, nicely done. Let's pay close attention because if you blink, you're going to miss it. Whoa! A big puff, a big burst, but within that puff was a masterpiece. We had Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortus, all riding smoke steeds across the barren plains of Mordor, dodging lakes of fire and molten lava, while slaying orc warriors and cave trolls with flaming bacon swords while they swiftly raced through the fiery smoke and ash to the volcano known as Mount Doom, so they can use the heat and fire of the mountain not to destroy great rings of power, but to roast hot dogs, marshmallows, and cook bacon. A suitable use of that fire, if I do say so myself. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 262. 262 weeks, or 5 years and 1 week worth of Scotch and Smoke Rings. Your humble host here, signing off for the evening, hoping that you'll all have a pleasant afternoon, evening, and even a better tomorrow. Make sure, my friends, that you stay classy, but first we must have a sip of scotch. Cheers. And then I tip my cap, wishing you all the best. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen, and be sure that, my friends, you stay classy.